Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live Scribbles with Jonathan. You can check out my website and my work at jonathanrector.com. There's a bunch of links all over the screen here, like usual. If you guys are on Facebook, Twitter, as well as a Patreon link that you can click there too. And I'm on Instagram as well. And I know Instagram's been around for a while, but for whatever reason, I just started getting really into it, and I'm digging it. So you guys can follow me there. I believe it's Scribbles Jonathan. It might be just Scribbles with Jonathan. I'm not quite sure, but I'll get a link on the window here soon for future videos and stuff like that. So first, I just wanted to say thank you for everybody that was here or is here in the pre-show and during the stream here tonight, which is every Wednesday from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Unfortunately, it looks like Picarto's chat is a little funky, so I can't see anything. I'll try to reload it. And it looks like it's good to go. It just popped right up, so cool. We'll still get a chat. I did notice that it was kind of going in and out during the pre-show. So, like usual, guys, if you have any comments or questions, need help with anything, please just leave it in the chat, providing it works in all capitals, and I'll be good to go. But what I wanted to start off with saying was I apologize for lack of YouTube videos. It's been about 2 weeks, I think, maybe even more, which is nuts. Usually I just upload these streams. I haven't really been able to make like original content, we'll call it, in the terms of like just videos and stuff. The reason being is my computer just started dying about 2 weeks ago. So I got a new computer and I've had to reinstall a whole bunch of stuff. And over the last couple weeks, I use Open Broadcast software, it's called, to do this stream here. And for whatever reason, it wasn't recording. And it might have been just I had not something turned off and on, whatever. So far, it looks like it's recording. So we'll have a video up, and I apologize for everybody that wasn't able to check out the other streams or make it to the other ones. That's all fine and cool as well. So yeah, just I want to do just another update for those 2 weeks of people that weren't here in the chat that missed sort of what's going on. What's on the screen right now? We might get to work on later, but I do have one client piece that we're going to work on, and it's actually coloring today. I'm going to color a Star Wars commission. So if you guys have been following me over the last, I'd say, a week, I've been posting the inks and stuff like that. We've got Jaina Solo, I believe, and Mara Jade, which, if you're into Star Wars, that's always cool. And the coloring I'm doing is very simple and, nothing too crazy, but it is for a commission, so I might jazz up some spots in it, and we'll see how we go. If we have time, I'll move into this. And what this is here, this character here, again, just reiterating over the last 2 weeks, I really, really want to push forward on a webcomic. It's something I've been talking about for a very long time, and Castle Dracula is it blew up into something that wasn't, it's initially started off as like a fan comic, a mini comic of my love for Castlevania, and it just started as these things do, the more ideas and more time you give something. And this is actually one thing, I saw somebody post something, it was like, on Facebook, you get these like memes and stuff like that. It was a Bruce Lee quote, I'll butcher it. Basically, if I remember it right, it was if you spend too much time thinking about something, it'll never get done or basically never start. And that's really what happened with that project is that I was thinking too much about it, trying to figure out what would be cool. And what ends up happening is, for me anyway, what I find cool isn't just short bite-sized things. I like big epics or big stories and stuff, right? So inevitably, that's where the story went. And I have a lot of plots written out and all that good stuff for it. However, it doesn't fit the webcomic model that I'm interested in. So it's pushed to the side like a bajillion other projects. I would love to get back to it one day, and I hope to do so. But in order to get the webcomic started and to really just act instead of thinking too much, is just go back to my favorite character that I've ever came up with, and he came from a mini comic too about 3 or 4 years ago, which is Jessup King. And I'll actually bring it up here because I know not everybody follows me on social medias and social medias. I love how I pluralized that there. Pluralized? But I did a quick pinup. It was mostly of a test just to see coloring and all these things like this. But I really dug how it turned out. I'm actually very excited for the project, and I'm not expecting like minds to be blown and things like this. It's just very fun, and just sitting down to do it and just work on it has been very, in a weird way, therapeutic. I don't have to, it's not for anybody else. It's just for me, and it's been really fun. Let me just find it here. Pinup color, I believe. Okay, so this one might be, yeah, it doesn't look like I have, it's a Manga Studio file. That's really the whole thing. I was also testing it in Manga Studio. So some of you guys have probably already seen it. I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can get some of the detail. It's kind of getting blurry. But I updated Jessup King's design a little bit for those of you that are familiar with the character. And gave him some gloves. Just trying to, again, play with a little bit of color, see if we can get little things going here. So he's got a lot of blue on him, right? So just a splash of accent here with the red. And I don't know. I dug the look. It just feels a little bit more like updated, fresh. He's got the Pokeballs still, so he's good to go. You guys will find a little bit more about that for those of you that haven't read the mini comic, that again, like 8 or 9 years ago or whatever. But yeah, so this is going on, so you guys can expect a lot of that. It's going to follow into a lot of Patreon stuff. So if you guys are interested in thumbnails, scripts, as loose as those are going to be, and things like that, I'll definitely keep you guys in the loop for people that are interested in that, as it will be on Patreon as well. So this character here, this is Momo. Jessup is, I named one of, I have 2 cats. One Zelda, the other one's Jessup. I named Jessup after, actually, I created my character just because he has a mustache. Same with my cat, so that kind of worked in. And then I figured, you know what? I had a second character for Jessup for a long time, and I just never came up with a name for him originally, so I figured Zelda would work. But I couldn't name him Zelda because everybody knows Zelda already. So I always call Zelda Momo. That's what I call her. So she'll be named there. And then we're turning into a princess. So I've started to develop her character a little bit. What this was meant to be was just sort of playing with the design. I saw some of you guys commenting in the chat, which is actually kind of funny. I am trying to include, things that I enjoy doing, things that are just, fun for me to do. And this is like it's a jellyfish, jelly squid kind of thing. And the head, I definitely want to play with a Ninja Turtle shape head. I'm a big fan of turtles, and if I can get that in there somewhere, that'd be cool too. So I don't want to beat this one to death. We'll talk more about that. Just wanted to, again, just do a quick update for everybody that was, hasn't been here for a while, and or just, let's update some stuff. So, there are some people talking about it in the chat there. So again, me and moving around projects is a problem I'm trying to fix. So this webcomic is where I'm trying to go with that. However, Castle Dracula, I am trying to schedule in time so that I can sneak in a few pages here and there, because what I would like to do with that is actually get, maybe, I don't know how many pages is an appropriate one. I want to do a little research on this, but see if I can get that and actually either do one of 2 things. One, see if I could possibly kickstart it. So that I can devote all the time, not have to do anything, just get that done, because it is a story. It's not a never-ending story, or just shop it around to some publishers. So I don't want to push it off. A lot of hard work has gone into that project, and I fell in love with it. There's a lot of projects I do, and a lot of people, or projects you guys probably do, and either fall in love with it or they get boring, or but there's certain ones that usually, I don't know, for me they hang on for a little bit. And that was definitely one of them. Okay, so let's go here. I'm just going to open up. We're going to do some Star Wars here. Okay, I believe this is one. And like I say, if we have enough time, we can go back and we're going to... Well, that can't be right, because I know I did more work than that. Wouldn't that be funny if we didn't save it? Actually, did I do it in Manga Studio? Maybe I did. All right. Maybe we're going into there. Take a look. Okay. So we got Manga Studio going here. Okay, so I was doing this in Manga Studio. You know what? I'm actually going to do this in Photoshop. I find it just a little easier. I still haven't become fully accustomed to working in Manga Studio, especially with coloring. Color, let's put PS for Photoshops. Alright, we'll let that save up there real quick. Then we can give this a quick little close. Some close action. Close that guy. Close this guy. And let's do some coloring, guys. Oh, wow, fail. Okay, so we're going to do this again, but I'm going to show you proper saving techniques. So I saved it as a Photoshop file, which is great. Or I thought I did, but save as typed. That's very important. Make sure you click that when you're saving things. If you want to save it as something other than a Manga Studio file. So what's new with you guys? You guys working on projects? How's your days going? It's been a full week since I've had a chance to talk to you guys. So I'm always interested in hearing how things are working out with you guys. All right, so let's get some brushes kind of going here. So this is a reference that I have up here for color. We're going to play around with it a little bit more. Like as you can see here, I actually really like this statue of Jaina Solo. Looks really cool. But this Mara Jade, this is cosplay. But the color here is washed with a lot of blue. This looks like it was probably taken clearly inside someplace where the sun is bouncing off of walls and things start to like reflect in that are given some blue action, right? But it's there for the color that I need, and then we're gonna harmonize the color and stuff like that later. And we don't do too much, or I haven't done too much coloring with you guys in a while. So I guess some of you guys might find it interesting how we can do this here. Okay. And again, if you guys have any questions for this or anything like that, please let me know. I know there's a lot going on. And like I say, we haven't done much coloring. So I think Jane is colored here. Let me just see. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to group her together in her own folder just to clean up some of these layers. There's a lot there. So we'll put Solo and Jade. Millennium Man is making character model sheet templates for myself. I don't know, I think it's supposed to be myself. I'll make it available for download on DeviantArt when I'm done. Probably make a tutorial video on it too. Awesome. Please share with everybody when it's done, bud. Bamf is saying stuck at work at the moment, but then the real projects and the real fun stuff starts, eh? All right. So the first thing I like to do is I'm gonna pick a local color here. She's a lot of leather. One of those ladies. So I'm gonna pick whatever here. Now, if you look over here in the color wheel, this is really dark. I'm gonna bring it up just a little bit more. That way, I have room to play with a little bit more shadow. And most of the shadow here, I'm just gonna do like one quick pass. But you guys will be able to see just how that works. I gotta zoom in, and this was actually done with for those of you that are familiar with the Freddie E. Williams method, the hybrid method. So a lot of this was 3-pixel brush printed out with a what's it called, a contour line, a thicker line around it, and then just printed out and whoa. Okay, that's it. Anyway, printed out and then inked with real tools. And I'm still trying to get used to it, especially with paper. Like you can see, there's areas right here in her face that's bled from the ink. So that's going to take a little bit of getting used to. See if that works. There we go. So I'm trying to do here is just an outline. Sort of like if you were to think about what I'm doing is making a mask with just these colors. So it's like I'm making a selection. Kind of like, I don't know if any of you guys have ever worked with, or when you were younger, you would draw with like markers and you would outline whatever it was you're going to color in with marker, and then you would fill that in with pencil crayon or just crayon. Similar effect here. Oops, totally missed all this. That's great. And what we do is once we've got our selection, sort of like a silhouette is what we end up making. We fill this in with a solid color, and then we're going to make masking layers inside of it, and it just makes it much easier. Some people, they'll just do this all in one layer as a flats layer. That's really what we're doing. I've never really liked that. I don't know why. I think I just got accustomed to working like this, and since then it's very hard to just go back. This lightsaber is going to be tricky. I don't... no, I'm going to put that on a separate layer because it's like pure energy, right? And I'm going to want to do like very little effects on it. Frost is saying, Jonathan, any tips on clothes or drapery, like what you got going on with this piece? Okay, well, the easiest thing for me to always try to think about when doing drapery, so I guess the easiest one to talk about would be like this cape. And we can draw one really simply. Oh, there's some horrible scan tangents here, but really you got try to think of like a pinch point. It's something that I read and it stuck with me for a very long time, which is finding an area. Like here's an example on Jaina's pants, how everything's tucked into the top here. So if you notice, like everything's tucked in here, and you can do this with your own shirt, your shirt right now. You can grab it, you can pull your shirt out like straight in front of you, so it stretches, right? But if you notice when you're pulling, it's stretching. What is it stretching to? So you've got your thumbs, like if you're holding it like you're like you're grabbing it. If you get your thumbs and you start pushing in with your thumbs, lines are going to start showing up like the folds and the creases in your shirt, right? And where are they going? They're pulling around probably your shoulder or your sides of your hips and your stomach, and they're getting pulled towards your thumb, like whatever's being that pinch point or that pull. And as long as you remember that, everything else pretty much falls in line. So here's the pinches. Everything's around here where her belt is. And if you look, I tried to get all the layering and stuff in here just to sort of push into that. Same with the crotch area. The boots, the classic Dragon Ball boots, you got your boots here, and they start to wrap around, which is a little different, but there is still, I'm still trying to think, like, try to build this up like it's being pinched inside of the boot. What would be another good area? Her shirt, it doesn't, it kind of does here, like around her breast. You kind of have this line going across because the breasts are pulling the cloth across, right? Um, and let's see where else. So with clothing like a cape, it's a little different because wind is wind affects everything, but especially in this case, they can be a little bit more magical, or mystical. They have an awe about them. So when I do like a cape like this, what I'll normally do is, so let's say you got your character here, you know, Marjade here, she's standing like that. When I do the cape, I kind of go like, okay, well, where's the wind blowing? So the wind's blowing this way. I know my pinch points are like up here on her shoulder, and I'll just do like a shape like that. And if I kind of like the shape, like does it have a cool shape to it? Does it complement her body well? Okay, maybe that one doesn't work. What if we go down like this? No? What if it's up like that? You see what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of variance you can get with just a simple thing like that. And once you find out like what shape you like, now you start to go in there, you start to turn it into like a 3D object, like you start to try to figure out, okay, well, if there's a pinch point here, it's probably going to be really thin and then get thick, like this. There's probably a pinch point here. Now, where are they going? And you can kind of like figure it out. Maybe you want it here, maybe you want it here like this, and you just start pinching everything in that's there. Or, once you've got your two pinch points like this, you can start to finesse it a little bit, where in here you can start to try to get that volume that's in there. A great artist, if you like that style of cape, and I used to never really draw them this way. I used to draw them, who would be? Joe Madureira. I talk about him all the time. His capes are a little different, I find. I mean, like, there's the general drapery and stuff that's done with a lot of artists, but I found the easiest way to get, like, quick stuff was looking at Jim Lee. And I don't know why, but maybe because Jim Lee gets such a bad rap and a good rap all the time. But a lot of people, they just, his faces all look the same and his figures are all the same and blah, blah, blah. But he has a shorthand way, which I kind of showed you, that the way I look at it, is just kind of drawing that shape and then figuring out what goes inside of it, where your pinches are and where your volume is in that shape very quickly, just by adding like again, that shape that I had there. As for clothes, I mean, clothes are the same. They tend to have a little different, like thickness. Some's very Kevlar, leather, but everything revolves around wrapping around a form and being pinched or pulled towards something. A good example of something that's like, it doesn't matter what you're wearing. Great example. Think of a little kid in your traditional ghost costume, where it's like a bed sheet put over top of them and they cut two eyes out, right? So it's so much volume in that because it's this gigantic sheet, but it's all being pulled towards the kid's head, right? So you'll get like, it's up here, and then you can go crazy. You can go like this, you can go like that, and you put your two little eyes in there, but as long as you've got like some lines coming at you like this, like the pinch, it works because we all know this, right? We've all done this. And you could start to try to figure out like, okay, well, what in this shape, like right here, maybe I'll just start doing that, and maybe we can kind of get some volume going over here. It just takes a little bit of practice, but it's once you start thinking about it like that, just always always try to do that. Always try to find where that pinch point is and make sure you really show it with some lines. And that's about it. Noah saying Jim Lee does a combination of large and small shapes in the cape that look very good. Yep. Try looking up dynamic wrinkles and drapery. Bern Hogarth, yeah, he's great. That's a great book. Small, medium, large shapes. Yep. And yeah, James is right there. The small, medium, large. It's design 101. Have something on your character that's large, medium, and usually details the small stuff. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for the question. Yeah, so I'll show you guys, I guess, one quick way here. So we'll do the in air quotes here, Jim Lee cape kind of stuff. The way at least I look at it. So we got a face here. You got a massive chest, right? And you get the big old forearms. Superman deflecting bullets. You know, Superman does. So in this case, what I would do, let's assume he's getting shot in the face and just bullets are deflecting off him. Everybody just drawing stuff like this. If I put the cape down like this, it doesn't feel as impactful as like, okay, so if you notice, he's actually getting hit with bullets and he's fine. But if we just shoot the cape back this way, it's like pure impact, right? So what I would do, at least my understanding, is you come back like this, and because I know there's gonna be a bunch of pinch points here like that, and then I'll kind of just start waving in around lines like this. And what these do, and this is a really quick way, I wouldn't recommend doing this all the time because this is kind of losing form, but these little indents that you're making and practice this stuff, this is great for like ribbon, is you pick like the top and you go in, right? It's getting pinched, it's getting pinched, it's getting pinched, and just go underneath it and do the same thing. So this side here is getting pinched in there, this side's getting pinched in there, this is getting pinched. And instantly what you do is you just created like these really volumetric shapes with very little work at all, right? Like I took nothing. And then if you want, yeah, totally, you could go in there and even add more lines like this, you know, doing the exact same thing I just did. Right? And that's really about it. Pillow saying, if you want to learn to color, watch a YouTube channel, Art by Aaron Blaise. I believe he was a Disney animator. That's Aaron Blaise, Aaron, and Blaise. Why does the cape fly but the hair does not? That's a good question. I guess it just depends who's drawing it. Yeah. I got so much oil and grease in there that it's just so slick. So slick. All right, what? Okay, yeah, I got a motor here. I feel like this whole episode's just gonna be me flatting, and that's no fun. This is literally, you know, some people can call it relaxing, put some music on, turn your brain off, and whatever. But like, this is the most tedious part of coloring comics or illustration, or at least the style that we're gonna be drawing in today. It's like there's nothing fun about watching this unless you're totally new to this. And if that was the case, then I would, if you're watching this on YouTube, you know, I would highly recommend just fast forwarding until you see me doing some shading or something. And even the shading is probably not going to be really that interesting. I could, you know what I'll do? I'll show you guys right now once I fill this in, what I'll be doing for the shading. That way, for those that are watching, just for that, you don't have to waste your whole life away just to see something that's going to end up being like very short. So, okay, what I've done is I'm going to turn the line art off so you can see what I did. This is what your flats really look like, okay? And excuse me, I just made it's a silhouetted shape. Okay, see, I missed a hole right there. So I'm gonna fill that there like that. Everything's gotta be closed off. We don't want any gaps anywhere and anywhere. So we're gonna bring that back on just so we can see. And we've only, you can notice that's on its own layer. Okay, we're gonna press W for the wand. I'm gonna turn sample all layers off because I don't want everything. I just want what we just did. So you click inside of it and you can see, if you look, it's selecting the line I just made, which is wrong, which means we've got an opening somewhere. So we're just going to quickly go around, See if we can find it. That might be it right there. So just close that. It's probably that right there. Let's see. So get the one. There you go. So everything's in there. I've got a shortcut. You guys are probably familiar with it. It expands the selection I just made and then fills. So we'll just do that now. Okay, so there you go. And we got our flat, and now I can go ahead. I'm going to color in the rest of Mara Jade. She's very simple. That's fine. But just to save you guys some time, what I do for shading anyway, or for shadow work, is I make a layer on top of everything that I'm going to color in with the shadow. Okay, we're gonna grab our brush tool, and I usually start with like a brownish purple up around here. Okay, and you set this layer to multiply, and that's it. That's really it. And then you just start worrying about like actual like how forms and stuff work. It's not an airbrushed look. It's very cell shaded, animated sort of feel to it. But the benefit for working with just this one color is it harmonizes every single color, meaning everything's got the same local shadow, right? So everything's got this purplish blue look to it. And that's fine for now, right? So I'm just going to do real quick here and you'll see. Let's get a big fat brush. All right, we'll go in there. And we'll give her some big old shoulders. You know, she works out. And quickly shade this. So you can see, like, maybe you don't like the color of it, right? So what you do is you just Control U or image adjust hue saturation. And literally you could just slide it and go like, okay, maybe I want like a reddish shadow or a yellow or maybe a green, you know. Green looks pretty cool. And maybe you want it more saturated. If you want like that vibrant kind of look, you know, most of us will probably, don't go down here, well, do whatever you want. Go around there, and then darkness if you think that your shadows need to be more dramatic, you know, or just very faint. And this is the power of just being able to have, you know, like adjustment layers. Okay. And that's really it. The last thing that I would do is once I would have that, like the shadows in there and stuff, I'd make an adjustment layer here. This is black and white cookie, I call it. And I just go up to here and go into color balance. And let me just make sure it's merged in with all that stuff. What color balance does is it balances all of the, excuse me, all of the colors, and you'll see here. So let's just say I wanted her to be more red, right? So we can slide it over to red. You can see everything's become more red. Let's go to green or magenta. You know, you start playing around. She's starting to look a little, you know, like she's out in outer space there. That's the midtones. You click down here in the shadows. So let's say shadows, we're going to go into the blues, right? And then the reds too a little bit. And then the highlights, we'll do the opposite. So instead of blue, we're going to go into the yellows. A little bit of light blues and some green. And what it does, and you guys can see right away, like, yeah, her hair is purple and you know, play around with it and stuff. But just by turning this off, very quickly, not only does it just give it like an extra punch, but it just makes the color just feel more like it all belongs. But you do have to be careful, right? Because there's some things like orange pants are probably pretty important in this case. But it's a great way to manipulate the whole drawing. This layer, this color balance, I do on top of the entire image once it's done. That way every single color is harmonized in some way. Some people, what they like to do is just say, I don't know, they wanted like a blue, they want a little bit of like coldness to the image, right? So they'll pick a blue, make a new layer and just fill it. Okay, that's not blue at all. Let's try that again. There you go. I'm just going to use it on her here. So what you would do is you just kind of have that, and you could just lower the opacity, right? And play sort of with the blending modes and see which one kind of comes out and you might like something. What this does is it's fine. I've seen people do this from time to time. However, personally, I just like messing around with the color balance layer. I feel like I can get a little bit more range and some fun stuff. But that's really the whole thing, let alone the special effects and stuff that we'll be adding on, like lightsabers and all that. Really, to get down to it, that's all I really do just to get like an image done. Okay, so let's go over here. I'm gonna pick so Jaina or Mara Jade here. Like I said, her skin's got a little bit more blue, right? Like if I click in around the mid-tone area, it might not look that blue. It's actually in the red, which is interesting. So if I click over here, you can see the difference, like how more red there and more there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just pick her color that we already have. And Mara Jade looks like she's a little bit lighter. So we're just going to bring this up a bit like that. Okay, and now that I have that flats layer, what I'm going to do is make a new layer, and if you hold Alt, you can see that it's going to turn into like this block pressing down, and if you click it, you'll see a little arrow in there. What that does is, what we just did, that selection, and I know I'm talking a lot of stuff here, and for those of you that aren't familiar, this might just sound like I have no idea what John just said, but it makes that silhouette that we made, it turns it into a mask, and what that means is I can draw in here all I want, but as soon as I go out, you'll never see it. Ever see it. And that for me, that's what I like about doing this way. I feel like I can get this stuff done a little quicker, just thinking about in terms of like layering and stuff, right? So I know her top here is going to be that blue color that we already started off with, but I'm just going to make this really nasty selection around there because I know the hair is going to go over top. I can go real crazy out here. And a lot of these colors, they're not final, right? These are just our placeholders. Like orange is orange, white's white. But what we're going to do is we're going to sort of like fix the colors a little bit so that they're not like totally just, they don't feel like they were just eye dropped like I did. At least that's the intent anyway. And this is just same with like the Jessup King picture I posted or I shared with you guys. Same way of coloring. All right, so we'll have all that. Do the same thing. Grab our wand tool. I'm just gonna select inside here and fill that. I'm gonna make a new layer and do the exact same thing. So let's get her hair here. Let's pick like a mid color. It's funny because the more you look here, it's like her hair's supposed to be orange, right? And it it doesn't look orange at all. Let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, I'm gonna bring it over just a little bit more, just to saturate it up. All right, and sometimes if you don't want to use a brush, you can use a lasso tool. You know, some people it's a little quicker. Just pressing Alt will remove from the selection, and Shift will add to your selection. Making this. Like I say, this isn't the most exciting stuff to watch. So I was listening to this more production podcasts. I don't think because those videos were deleted, all the YouTube people, they didn't get to listen to my weird analogies with toothpaste. You guys remember that? But I was listening to one today. What is the show? You guys might like it. For those of you that are interested, Accidentally Creative, I believe, is the podcast. It's like for productivity for creatives. Um, and he had this lady on, and what she was talking about is, and I love when they do this. It's like they start to invent words for things we already know, so that it's different, right? So when people don't like, people always say they're out of time. We always say like, I wish I had more time, but that's what she proposes is stop calling them that, start calling them just priorities. Meaning like, okay, so oh man, I wish I had more time to hang out with family. Might be a good example. The real thing is like if you really looked at it, you're probably already spending a bunch of time with your family. You might not like it, or it might not be quality time, whatever. But it's whatever it is. So if you're going to look at your priorities, maybe your priorities need to just be when I'm with my family, make it more quality time. That way you feel like you're getting more or you're giving back more into that. So how does that reply with like what we do? Well, the easiest way to look at it would be um, coming home from work, doing whatever it is, and just going like, okay, I'm going to relax because I've been on my feet or sitting all day at work, whatever. I'm just going to grab some dinner, watch a TV show or a movie, and then I'm going to start working, right? So what you're willingly doing there, and it's not like a way to like punish yourself or something, right? But it's just being real with yourself of, okay, well, what is your priority here? Is your priorities just like go to work? And I'm talking about, in general, most of us, you go to work, and you might enjoy it. It might be good, but chances are, I'm willing to bet, chances are that it's not what you really want. Chances are. I could be totally wrong. So when you have your own free time, we'll call it, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing to get closer to what it is that you want to do? That's really all it is. And nobody's gonna judge anybody on any of this stuff, right? We're all trying to slowly make it, unless you're very fortunate and you already have. If that's the case, congratulations. So it's really just focusing again on like what's your priorities. If your priorities are trying to make your own comic, I want to make Jess of King. I really want to make that into a web comic. I want to turn it into a thing. All right, well, so what am I doing for that? Like, if are my priorities in order? So you want to relax and watch a movie? Cool. That's we're told that's okay. That's fine. But can you sit down and relax and draw a comic book? Can you do that? Is that not relaxing to you? And if it's not, why? Like that would be my concern. Like my actual question would be, well, why is it that it's not a priority? What is it about it that you don't enjoy doing? Because there's got to be something that's happening in your life or otherwise that's just preventing you from wanting to do it. Maybe it's just because it's work. Ugh, it's work. I just came home from work to work on somebody else's comic. I've been there. I know exactly what the hell you're talking about. And the hard part about that is it's like it's so hard to sorry, so my layers are all messed up here. Um, oops, why is this? There we go. Oh my god. But anyway, yeah. So a good example, I guess we could talk about just to bring it around or whatever. Anyway, like I say, I get this stuff more interest. I'm interested in this stuff. It's fun ways to think about things, and sometimes I'll hear one or two words or a way that they say something, and it's like, oh, okay, well that's an interesting way of thinking of it. But the standard, that was a long ass project, and one of the biggest drivers was priorities. Like, no matter how far we got, um, just the vision, the scope, and a whole bunch of things. I still love the project and stuff and how it turned out for the most part. But to be honest, it was like the one thing that always sucks and stuck with me, and it's my fault too, is that it was never my own stuff. Like drawing it's mine and all that stuff, and there's pride in that and all that cool stuff. But there's just I don't know. I get more satisfaction out of making my own stuff. That's not to say that collaborating on things isn't something I enjoy, because I totally do. But it's you guys. I'm hoping you guys know what I'm trying to say here. Like when you're working on your own stuff, there's just something about that it's all you, and or whoever you bring on board kind of thing to help you out. But it's a totally different feeling than helping other people together, or just helping other people come up with projects, right? So anyway, no, I'm rambling on that. But yeah, check that podcast out. You guys might dig it. There's some really cool stuff that they talk about on there. If you're into this whole productivity thing, or maybe you're just so kick ass that you're on top of everything, and you're where I want to be. And then there's this other side too that always makes me wonder. It's like, well, the more of this stuff you listen to, maybe it starts getting in your head. And you start saying like, how can I be more blank? And when I'm not more productive and stuff, oh, what did I do wrong? Like why did I do this? Just stupid stuff that you might get stuck in your own head. Nope, that's not the right layer. The podcast is called Accidentally Creative, or yeah, the Accidental Creative. That's what it's called. And I believe, well, like you'll go on there and just like all these people that talk about that stuff, they'll always have a book to promote, right? But other than that, it's good stuff. I usually get something out of it every time I listen to an episode. The big one that I'm gonna try to get back into, you guys, and I think I talked about it with you guys. I know I did it for a little while and stopped. Um, that seems to be my MO. But it's getting up earlier, at least like an hour before work. I get up to go to work at 6:30 in the morning, so that would mean getting up at 5:30. But what that does, and this is providing I don't go to bed at some crazy time like midnight or something, so that I don't like I totally fuck myself with sleep. Uh, so I have to start going to bed around 10:30 to do that. But that gives me like a whole hour that I would normally get up at 6:30 anyway to like grab your whatever you gotta do in the morning before you go to work. But that hour I could totally spend on whatever I want, right? Like I can just that's some sweet time to get some Jessup King time because like going back to what I talked about just briefly about so what do you do when you go home? Yeah, I'm with you guys, man. I'll grab something to eat. I'm hungry as f. I'll grab something to eat, and I need to do something while I'm eating. So I'll watch something. Either I'm going on YouTube or checking up with what you guys are sharing on Facebook, and pick something. There's so much out there that there's to do, right? So I'm doing all that. That's cool. But then eventually I start to look and it's like around well now it's around six to 7 o'clock and I have only so much time to do some client stuff here and then squeeze in right. And at the end of the day, it always feels like at the end of the let alone, and this isn't even talking about like a girlfriend or relationship or family commitments and stuff. This is all just work, right? And it's good work. I enjoy it, but it gets stressful at times, like I'm sure most of it does for you guys, or it just feels like there's just always something that you could be doing. Um, what's that? Sorry. I go to work at 6. I start work at 8 in the morning, and we're done at 4:30 at night. So yeah, I get home about 5. So I'm basically out of the house for close to 12 hours, which sucks. But that's the way she goes, right? Oh, and I totally forgot what I was saying. Oh, right, yeah. So you come home and I've only got like like a few hours to do some client stuff and my stuff, and I gotta do chores and all this stuff, just stuff, right? Just life stuff that everybody's got to do. Um, but when this happens, usually, and I can't be alone on this, but things start getting kicked to the curb, and the first thing that always gets kicked to the curb is personal stuff for me anyway. And even like just scheduling in 15 minutes to do study is like, nope, it's too much time because you only got so much friggin' mental effort and ability, right? Like maybe you guys don't, right? What's that? 9 to 5, 8 hours. Sorry, I did the same. Oh, did I screw that up? Oh no, sorry. Well, okay. So this is the trick here, right? Uh, when people say they work 9 to 5, they don't work 8 hours. You work more than that. Chances are you don't get out of bed at 8:59 and you're at work, right? Most people I know there are people I got to shower when I can wake up. I feel like a scuzz bucket. Even if I shower before going to bed and then go to bed, wake up, I got to shower. I can't. I have to have it. I just feel like just nasty McNast, right? Unless I do it. So for me anyway, to eat and to get to work, I need an hour and a half to eat, have a shower, get ready, and then go to work, right? So now we just tacked another hour and a half onto work. So now we're up to 9.5 hours, right? And then the commute home is about a half hour. So we're up to 10 hours, right? And that's just me. You guys that might have like long ass commutes and stuff, like an hour each way, like you gotta look at how you spend your time and where you can kind of be real with yourself. Like how do you gotta be real with where your time's going in the day. And just to backtrack really quickly, where I was trying to get at is not being so hard on ourselves and stuff, but like, man, okay, so let's just say you have an average job, like a generic job, which could be in a factory or sales person or something not I don't want to say not creative, but something that's not in the field you want to do. Okay, that asks different things of your body It could be just physical, like if you work out, like a lot of physical activity, you come home and you're just whoa, just drained, or mentally drained if you have to deal with a lot of thinking, right? So when it comes time to come home, right, like let alone what everybody else in your life needs or wants from you, it's very tough to have just the ability to always be on, always ready to go. Like always, if somebody needs something, don't worry, you got it. If you need to think up something, don't worry, you got it. If you gotta write or draw something or do something extra creative, you got it. Like that, I don't have the mental stamina for that at all, at all. So what am I saying with all this? Holy crap! Talk about derailing. What I'm saying is I'm actually really looking into, and it seems scary because I have to get up earlier than whatever and go to bed later or earlier. I mean, just early everything. But what I hear from people that are doing all this stuff is like, yeah, of course you get an extra. You know how much an extra hour is a day to you? If you do that 5 days a week, that's an extra 5 hours on a project. Even if you just do 1 hour on the weekend because of that, that's an extra 7 hours a week. Like that might not seem like a lot, but when you come home from wherever you come home, at whatever time you come home, if you're not up to snuff, like you're just tired, man, you're probably and let's just say you go, okay, when I come home from work, I'm gonna put an hour into my personal project, and you eat, you take care of the family, you say hi to some people, you go visit some people, maybe go watch a movie or something, whatever, because it's date night, whatever the hell, or maybe it's date night for yourself, take yourself out, right? You go and you come back. That hour is probably going to be filled with distractions, and it's probably not going to be your best work. And you're probably just tired, and maybe it becomes 40 minutes because I can't do. I'm going to bed. I can't draw today. I can't do anything. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. That's the sort of stuff I'm talking about. And if all it is just waking up earlier to get that extra hour, come on. Doesn't that seem? It doesn't that seem worth it? So there's this book too. You guys can check it. I mean, you don't need a book to tell you to wake up early at all. Um, yeah, so never mind. It was called the 5 a.m. Miracle. I think there's and I love that name. It's so cheese. But like, check out. There's a podcast that he has as well where they talk about it. You probably get all the information there as well. Let me just catch up with what you guys are saying. Sorry about all that. James saying he hates chores. He wants to take a month or two off when he gets settled in. I I hear you, man. Just disposable utensils and plates. Just eat, throw it, go in the garbage. Oh man. Pillow saying you sit at a desk, right? Try doing this and work for landscaping company, man. No, I hear you. I had to get a standing desk because of the amount of time I sit at work. I've noticed now that I've started standing at home, I do have a stool, and what I'll do is when your feet get tired, you sit on the stool. But then I've tried to start tricking myself is when I notice I'm on a stool, I get off of it, right? But at work, I have no choice. I'm just sitting all day. And I notice about an hour and a half in now, my ass is on fire. And not from like some crazy weekend party. I'm just talking just because it's not good for you at all. And I'm getting away from that with all the standing I'm doing, right? So all that's going on, just trying to figure out ways to do that. And I can only imagine if I had to go do physical labor and then come home to try to. Chances are, if you're whatever the physical job is you're doing, you don't want to do that for the rest of your life. Maybe you're doing it because it's air quotes here safe, and you'll get a retirement and blah blah blah. All the stuff we tell ourselves to shit all over our dreams, right? Because going after our dreams generally means giving up a lot of things, or the risk is insane. So a lot of us settle, right? So if that's the case, like, how are you going to get ahead when you're trying to get somewhere when you're exhausted? When all of your best is given to somebody else while you're at work or whatever, that sucks. Right? Like if we're just talking an hour for now, right? But if you're able to just when you wake up, drink coffee, whatever, water, whatever it is that you need to get like spiked up, and you just gave yourself an hour or 45 minutes of just straight production on whatever it is that you want to do, a study or portfolio work or whatever, and then go to work. When you come home, you don't have that feeling of like, you already have that feeling, I've already done stuff today. So even if you were so exhausted from work, you didn't do it, it's not as much sweat off your back. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I could talk to you guys a bunch about this. You guys let me know if you guys are interested in this stuff because I eat this stuff up. I just love how people can come up with just creative ways to make us think about what what it is for all this stuff that we're talking about, right? Michael's saying, but sitting all the time wrecks your back. Sure does. A millennium saying, I wish I had that time. Try finding time to run a household. Being a single dad raising 3 teen boys, I need to petition God for an eighth day or get a clone of myself. So, millennium, you might actually dig this. Check out that podcast. I'll say it one more time. And just, I think it's actually their first one or second one that was there. I just listened to it today. The Accidentally Creative podcast. And they briefly talk about the lady that's on there. She talks about people that have like families and stuff in your situation, and I don't know because I'm not in that situation. But from what she was saying is like people that have these commitments to other people, they tend to be more productive towards that because of priorities. So an example is your kids are hungry, but I have a webcomic to draw. Chances are, unless you're a total douchebag and is that your priority is going to be the kid needs to eat, right? Of course. So you're going to feed the kid. So what gets pushed back are things that are less of priorities. Not that you don't have time, because if it was just you wish you had more time, think about this, okay? Here's a good example. And they said in the podcast, that's why I'm repeating it, and I apologize, there's no drawing going on. But it goes like this, okay? So let's say you get a phone call tomorrow around noon, and you're in your work day, and you're actually working on whatever. And you have plans to make your comic for 20 minutes after the kids go to bed or whatever it is, right? But somebody goes, hey, I've got a babysitter lined up and I've got tickets to a baseball game. Do you want to go? And you're a huge baseball fan. Maybe you go, you know what? I could really use yeah, I'll do it. This is great. Chances are, before you're done work, you're going to finish all the work that you have done because you know you have you have something to go to with somebody, right? And even if you don't finish the work, you find a way to either delegate it or go like, okay, well, I can do this tomorrow. This really doesn't need to be done today. This isn't really a priority, yada, yada, right? And what that just shows you, because I've done this, and I know we've all done this. Whether it's like you just got a brand new video game, fuck all my artwork, I'm going to go play that video game. Get it out of my system, people might say. That's fine. But when you think about it, what you're doing is you're just setting that's a bigger priority than these other things, and you're willing to go, okay, well, this stuff doesn't really matter. All this is to say that, okay, so your kid's hungry and you got a webcomic. Obviously, you're going to feed your kid. But what else is there in your life that you might do instead of the comic? Is it just, okay, I need to just sit down and breathe and just read or surf the internet, watch my videos? Stupid stuff, right? But there's got to be something at some point where you can go, you know what? Maybe I can just relaxingly do something that you want to do. And again, yes, this is all coming from somebody that I don't have kids, so I can't say this with 100% like, oh, it works for me. It's that kind of things. It's just I'm just saying it maybe to help change your a thought or an opinion that might spark an interest into something that might be able to get you closer to what it is that you hope and that it sounds like you want to do, unless you really are okay and of just having drawing as a hobby, which is cool. There's nothing wrong with that. It's your life, right? Do what you want. There shouldn't be a single person that tells somebody that like you're doing this wrong, and this is the golden rules for how you're supposed to live. That's not right. Nobody works like that. Nobody feels good. Although, if there was, man, I'd be all over that. All right, so I'm just trying to catch up with you guys here with all the rambling we're doing tonight. Banff is saying, but I know what you're saying. Pillow, lifting and running all day and then trying to sit down without falling asleep is a very good trick. There you go. And Unsung is saying, discipline, get some. Yep. So Millennium saying, it's not bad, just damn busy. Been training my boys to run on autopilot so I can have some me time. Almost there. Awesome. Oh, also she talked about too, like how many parents actually I've done it when I've babysit too, where it's like once your kids are finally in bed, they go, okay, now you either probably watch a movie or something, right? Some you time, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is for you. Or people that have like a second job and they're freelancing, doing something might not even be art related, but they'll actually fire up, get the emails going, send out some blah, blah, blah. important stuff, right? But it's, it's kind of got to get done, but it doesn't feel like it's. I honestly feel, guys, that okay, to be a professional, you have to work through all the bullshit. But that's if you want to be a professional, right? You'll find a way to prioritize this stuff. When this lady just said that, it's not about time, it's priorities. To me, it was like another one of those things that just popped off my head. Like, that makes so much more sense, because I know I've just been talking about like getting up early for an extra hour, so it gives me an extra time in the day. But that's not true, right? It's just, so what's the priority focus here? Is the focus of getting up to do this sort of thing so you can blah blah blah. I don't want to keep going into all that stuff, but yeah, no, totally check it out. You guys will probably really dig it. All right, let's turn that on. Okay, cool. So we've got. Oh, well, I guess the show's done. All right, let's see if we can get. So we got that and some silver. Is the whole gun black like that? Damn. And if you guys actually, here's a good little, well, I'm interested in this. I don't know if anybody's going to actually do any of the stuff I'm talking about or not. But if anybody is actually interested in any of this stuff and you try it out, please let me know. Next week, perhaps, too. Like, if you decide, I'm going to try getting up an extra, I wouldn't go as crazy as an hour right away. It's going to take time to build up. But 15 minutes a day, I know it seems like, oh, like, what's 15 minutes? But like I said, 15 minutes over 5 days, right? That's your extra hour and 15. Is that even right? 15 to 30? Yeah, hour 15. I'm just gonna lighten this background up here just so we can see how these things are popping. Anyway. Oh, sorry. Unsung asked this earlier, and I totally skipped it. He was asking about the flatting program. If you guys go back to my channel, I have this. I forget what it's even called. A B-pelt, I believe it's called. I stopped using it only because what I found, and I couldn't find. I don't think maybe mine was like the free version. I forget. But I think if your art style looks like mine, okay, and again, I'm not doing this like nose in the air, anything like that. If you've got a lot of somewhat detail in your work like this, right? When you do the flatting, the way that program works is anything that's like a white area, it'll fill in with like a random neon color. And the idea is after you can just select multiple neon colors and then fill it with a single color, kind of like what we did. It is very tedious when your artwork is like this for me, and I don't know. I gave it maybe a week, and then I was just like, I can't. This is taking too much time. If your art style looks kind of like Momo that I showed in the beginning there, of like that simple kind of line, that it might be better for you in that case because it's long, like big solid chunks that you can quickly grab and turn into something. Again, for me, the detail stuff kind of turned it off, and I find this is faster, even though it seems like it took forever to do. Okay, so I guess that'll wrap it up. Again, thank you guys so much for coming in today. I really do appreciate it. If you're in a little bit late, that's cool. This show is every Wednesday, which is today, from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And here on Picarto, up at the top here somewhere, I don't know where it is on their new UI. You can click there and subscribe. It's free. You just gotta spend the time to put in an email and all that garbage. But as long as you got an account on there, that's fine. And you get a notification when we go live. What did I want to say? So the Jessup King comic, I've already started doing pages. I'd like to show you guys some of that soon. But I want to get a buffer going, and there's still some front end stuff. But I definitely want to have it out before the end of the year. That's my goal. Most likely, I would like to have 8 to 14 pages done, and then get this thing online. Reason being is I have a convention to go to. That's a local one at the end of next month, the Christmas Con. And I figured, it might be cool if I can do, if the first story is just sort of like a small little mini comic idea, right? And I could print that out and maybe do some artist editions and stuff like that. But there's that. But on Picard or Patreon, if you guys wanted to head on over there, patreon.com/JonathanRector, I changed it up a little bit. I'm going to be updating it again with some other things that are on there. But if you guys are interested, and I don't expect anybody to be right now because there's no content, there's no Jessup King comic yet, so there's no reason to do any of this. But once the comic starts going, if you guys are interested, check it out. I'll be doing what like everybody else is doing. So sketches, thumbnails, writing, and just how the behind the scenes sort of stuff. So thank you guys so much again, and I apologize if there weren't videos the last couple of weeks. But hopefully, I'm gonna find out in a second once we stop the stream. Hopefully it all works out and we're good to go. And yeah, so if everybody's in here, what we'll do is like we normally do at the end of the show. We just end it off with our favorite song, and yeah. So again, thank you guys so much for sticking around tonight. Really do appreciate it. And like usual, keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.